welcome back to Iris After Hours. We are here in Fremont, hence the different decor we have going on than what you're used to. And I'm here with Martin Smith, from lead singer from the band Delirious, 17 years, incredible. We all know the impact that this band has had on worship culture and music today. And it's been 9 years. He's got a lot of new stuff going on, so we'd love to talk about that. And welcome.
Hey, great.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's such an honor. Happy New Year.
Yeah,
by the way. How was Christmas? How was New Year's?
Christmas is pretty big in our house.
Yeah.
My wife, I don't know anybody that loves Christmas more than my wife. She just loves it.
I would love her.
Like, she's just a big presents person, gifts.
Same.
Candles, the whole thing.
I stressed out my husband with that, actually, because I need to buy a present for everybody.
Yeah, there's a similar theme there.
Yeah.
And she just loves it. So we have a lot of people over. It's very busy, but it's great.
That's awesome.
And, yeah, it's
and
a
big
time.
Family,
yeah.
6 kids.
Yeah, we've got 6, and I'm one of 4, and Anna's one of 5. So if you can imagine, like,
all the extended family.
Everybody comes together, and it's...
This is in Brighton?
Yeah.
Okay, which is a small town.
Well, it's,
pretty?
Yeah, it's quite a big city for the UK.
Okay.
Right on the south coast, directly below London.
Okay.
So 250,000 people.
Oh, wow. Awesome. I feel like the way Ellie described it, it was like, everybody knows each other. We all live there. Yeah. So, yeah, in my head, I was like...
Great coffee.
Yeah, that's
lots
awesome.
Lots of good art, loads of artists, loads of musicians.
Incredible.
It's sort of like a mini San Francisco.
Oh, fun. Yeah. I love that. Talk to me about, I, of course, do want to talk about Delirious, but talk to me a bit about what you're doing now. What does life look like now? What projects are you working on?
Yeah, well, as you said, we live in Brighton. We're part of a church there called St. Peter's. And we overtook a big cathedral right in the centre of downtown area in Brighton.
Oh, amazing.
And it was a bit derelict. It was falling down.
Yeah.
So some families moved in. We came a bit later, but it's been an amazing thing to see this place kind of resurrect.
Yeah.
And now it's full of people from all walks of life.
Incredible.
So that's good. That's what we're doing church-wise. And lots of music there. I have a studio in my house. And just trying to write songs and keep hopefully writing things that people want to sing.
Nice. And you're doing singer-songwriter stuff? Yeah? Are you going in with a new band?
Well, I've got a great team in Brighton, and they're all kind of mid-20s. They're really great players.
Nice.
And so we do travel a lot together, doing worship stuff. But we also have another thing that we do, which is we go into like little rock and roll clubs.
Yeah.
And just play kind of heavier music. And that band is called Army of Bones.
Army of Bones.
You can check that
What's
out.
the significance behind the name?
Ezekiel 37.
Awesome.
So you can check that out on Spotify. But it's a whole different thing. It's not aimed at Sunday morning. It's
very different from what you're doing here, you said.
Yeah.
Worship.
And hopefully, just my heart is that people will come to that, and that maybe will never go to church and be touched by God. That's the prayer.
Yeah.
Really.
Has it been exciting for you to have that kind of different outlet?
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been
and you
amazing.
get to write for that band as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys co-write? Is there a lot of collaboration happening in that?
Yeah, the band, we co-write a little bit, and it's just been amazing. So obviously those things are harder to get off the ground, but we're believing that there's something in that, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And I asked Ellie a bit about this, but when Delirious was really taking off, when that was happening in the moment, did you kind of have an understanding back then about, oh, this is something groundbreaking, or this is something really new that's happening in Christian music, or did you have any idea to the level it would go, or were you just kind of on the ride? Was it just kind of like, oh, we're in it?
Yeah, I think we did have a little bit of an idea because we were running a youth event in our town in England, and there were genuine stories. Kids were getting saved, healed, delivered of stuff. We were baptizing kids. So there was a genuine story that was going on. So even at that level, we were like, oh, I think this is I think God is in this,
Yeah.
you know. And then we'd get on a plane and come to America, and we'd turn up somewhere and people would know the songs.
Yeah.
And then you think, this is really mad. How on
Yeah.
earth have they... So I think in those days, we had like cassette tapes, and believe it or not, and it was just an underground thing. People were copying them, sending them to friends. And so, yeah, I think we were aware a little bit, but it's only now that I look back and I meet people, even at conferences like this, that are like, oh, that I was at something 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And, it changed my life. So it's very humbling.
Yeah.
But you always look forward, don't you? And you look forward to kind of, okay, what's God doing now? You don't really want to rest in the past.
Right. And it sounds like you are moving forward and writing a lot, which is really exciting. Tell me how I was thinking about this. Did you guys start writing music that was just exciting to you? Or did you have a context for that kind of worship music? Did you have inspirations that were similar? Or were you just thinking, this is the kind of music I like, and so this is how we're going to do it?
Yeah, I think it was the music that we loved. And we were listening to, living in the UK, it's a small island. So there isn't really a Christian music industry, really. There's no radio.
Yeah.
So we're very small. And so the bands that we were listening to were like Radiohead and, all those sort of indie rock bands 20 years ago.
And there
U2.
wasn't much of a context for that style of music in worship at the time, was there?
Not really, no.
Not much.
And so we were just like, right, we want to write about God, and we want the kids that are coming to our monthly event, we want them to sing great songs about how God can change their life. So it just naturally came together.
Yeah.
I don't think we really thought, oh yeah, this would be cool, or this, it was just instinctive.
Yeah. Was there a lot of co-writing happening back then? Were you the main writer on a lot of those songs, or did you guys work as a team?
The electric guitar player Stu G and I would have written most of the songs together, but not as collaborative as maybe it is now.
Okay.
Where that maybe 5 or 6 of us will meet.
Yeah.
And
so you found you really enjoy the collaboration
yeah, I do.
process.
Yeah, I think we're all better for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And back then, talk me through, how old were you guys when you started the band? How did the actual formation of the band come about?
Well, we were all in the same church.
Okay.
And
you guys still are? Do you all still live in the same town?
No, this is another place in the UK.
Okay.
And some guys were running the youth group, and it was just a really simple idea. Hey, why don't we just like meet once a month? We'll get all the kids to invite their friends, and we took over like a school drama theatre, and it was like really blacked out, dark.
Yeah.
And we just turned it up loud and went for it.
Were you in your 20s?
I was 22 at the time.
Okay.
A couple of the guys were a bit older and a couple of them a bit younger. So, yeah, it's amazing,
Wow. And did you guys all have a passion for music back then? Did you know this is what I want to do for my life? Or I'm just going to try this out because this is a fun hobby and see where this goes?
Well, we all had really different skill sets. One guy was a graphic designer. One guy ran a studio. One guy was an electrician. And
oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we one was an art student. So I don't think we were like, oh, great, let's get together and form this band that's going to travel the world.
Right.
It was like...
and change everything.
Yeah, we're going to get together and help with this youth event. And that was called Cutting Edge, that event. And let's just do that to the best of our ability. And I think for me, the music thing was in my blood.
Yeah.
So much. So.
Did you grow up doing it?
No.
No.
I've got no music in my family anywhere.
Really?
Yeah, it's such a strange thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've searched for it, but there's just nothing there.
Surely it's back there, generations.
I don't know, it must be. But
haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So when did you pick up the guitar?
12.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad bought me a guitar when I was 12. I think just to sort of keep me amused.
Did you grow up in a
And
Christian home?
yeah,
Okay.
I did, yeah. But not a charismatic house. It was quite a strict sort of conservative church upbringing. And so my parents are great, but we didn't really ever talk about the Holy Spirit.
When did you encounter more of the Holy Spirit?
I was 19.
Yeah?
Yeah, I left home at 17. Went to work for a recording studio. Went to this different church. They're all raising their hands and, going for it. I was like, wow, this is a bit weird.
Were you doing worship?
No,
No, you're just going.
I
Okay.
was just like, this is amazing. I
Yeah.
really like this. So I got drawn into that, great people. And around that time, I got filled with the Holy Spirit.
Wow. And what was your getting filled with the Holy Spirit even and then starting this band? What was your songwriting process like back then, and has it changed at all? You mentioned there's more collaboration now.
Well, I think then you have no idea what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You're just, hey, this is a song that
Right?
I've woken up with. The first ever kind of worship song I wrote was a song called Lord, You Have My Heart. And it was just a prayer. It was just like, great.
That was one of the first songs.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is what I'd like to say to God right now. I didn't really think, oh, this could be sung on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Someone actually said to me, oh, you shouldn't start with a minor chord, because they'll never do it in church if you start with a minor.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
That's amazing. Yeah.
This is back in 1989. And it's
Okay.
like, oh no, you'll never. It's a bit dark.
It's a bit dark,
And
Martin.
now most of a lot of
Funny.
great songs. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it is.
But there's a real connection with California though, because a guy called Andy Park came to the UK and led a conference called New Wine, which is kind of like the John Wimber era. And I just got mesmerised by the style in which they led, that whole vineyard style.
Yeah.
And guys like Kevin Prosh I met. And so that was a really formative time for me.
Yeah. I know a lot of people have been impacted by, or at least in our Irish staff, I had some people ask me about this, about how you incorporated your family life into touring over the years. Because obviously over the years you had 6 kids. When did you get married in this process?
I was 22 when that event started, Cutting Edge, and then I was married at 24.
Oh, wow.
So it was there that I kind of met Anna, and I was like, great, we're doing this amazing event. I'm leading worship, and I've met my wife. This
Wow, everything's happening at once.
Everything's, yeah.
And Delirious was formed at that point, or no?
We did that event for 5 years.
Okay.
Every month on a Sunday, and then after
That's right.
that,
Okay.
Delirious kind of emerged from that.
Wow, so she wouldn't have really known what was coming. You didn't know what was coming.
No, we just,
Okay.
we kind of had a hunch, but not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have a bunch of kids, yes, and then they come on the road with you, right?
Yeah.
And was that something you decided early on, like, okay, I'm going to be really intentional about bringing them on the road and finding this balance? Was it hard to find the balance?
Well, we had a rule right from the beginning that we wouldn't be away for more than 10 days.
That's amazing.
So that was our rule as a band.
Everyone was in agreement.
We all had children, 5 families.
Wow.
In the end, there were 17 children between our whole gang. This is
Wow.
quite a lot.
Yeah.
So we were all involved in church still, leading worship there a lot. So it wasn't like, oh, we're going to abandon everything we're doing locally and go to the world. We had responsibilities still. So it's all right, 10 days. We stuck to that pretty much through the whole 17 years. Wow. I think once we did 12 days because we went to Australia, so we couldn't get back in time. But then what we'd do is when the kids had holidays in the spring or in the summer, we were like, right, we're just going to plan these big trips to America, get on a tour bus and go for it. And we loved that so much.
And your kids seem to have loved it.
Oh,
Ellie loved it.
oh,
I
they,
just met your daughter. I just did a
yeah,
podcast with her, loved her.
it's their favourite memories of
And
all
that was
time.
so cool.
Yeah, just being on the road with Dad and coming on stage and jumping up and down. And then it's amazing, isn't it, when now I see Ellie leading worship. I'm like, how did you do that? You know, how did you work that out? And I think it's just years of just being there, isn't it? It's like you and your mum. You know, it's like I've never really sat down with any of my kids and said, right, this is how you lead worship.
Yeah.
Because you can't explain it anyway, can you?
Yeah.
But it's kind of, they're just in it. And suddenly now I'm seeing Ellie.
She told me a story about how you said when she was 13 at an event, how about you guys just sing tonight? Yeah. And she's just singing. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And from then on, it was just really natural.
Great.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And are your other kids into music too?
Yeah, Noah, my son, plays drums. I think he'll probably end up singing a bit, but he's saying no way. But I think he probably will.
It's in there.
Indy, 17. She's more like she wants to be a preacher.
Wow.
She's quite fiery.
That's so awesome.
So she's got a heart set on that. Levi, who's 14, he plays a bit of guitar, but I don't know what route he'll take. But he's a real pastor sort of guy.
Wow.
Ruby is our 12-year-old, and she reminds me of you guys, actually, of your mum especially.
Yeah.
She's totally bonkers. Don't mean it like that. She's
totally reminds me of you guys.
Yeah, exactly. She's totally crazy.
I get it.
And just loves life.
Wow.
And he's just like got one foot in heaven already. And she's just like, she's an amazing kid.
That's incredible.
And then our youngest, Mary, is 10. She's completely opposite, streetwise, plays soccer.
Yes.
One step ahead of everybody.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome. And was there a real shift for you? Obviously, there was a major shift in the family, I imagine, when the band ended. How did you kind of know it was coming to an end? And what was that shift like for your family?
Yeah, it was quite big. For a vision like that to really work, you've got to have everybody pulling in. You know, you've got to be, everybody's got to be waking up in the morning going, right, we are serving this thing that we're doing. I think when you start to sense that people are looking out a bit, looking towards other things that God wants them to do, it's almost like you can't fight that.
Yeah.
You have to just accept that we're at a different stage of life. You know, few people have reached the age of 40, which is a key age in anyone's life. Families, and I think people naturally like, okay, I think that I've got this to do as well as this.
Yep.
So it was difficult, but you know, amazingly, we've all made through that transition. You know, we're all friends, and I think we look back on the years very fondly.
Yeah. This is a big question because you were in the band a long time, but what was one of your favorite parts about those years? About being in Delirious, about being on the road?
Yeah, I mean, we loved all of it, but I think for me personally, I used to love traveling to the poorer countries.
Really?
And you know, going to India and Cambodia and Africa, and just kind of touching base with people like that. I used to love that. And you know, we travelled a lot with Joyce Meyer, actually, doing a lot of her sort of missions and conferences, and you know, getting out on a stage and there's 400,000 people in the crowd in Mumbai, and you're just like, how on earth did we get here? You know,
wild, yeah.
So I've loved those moments, especially.
Did you feel like it felt fresh as you did it, even at the end of those 17 years, and even now when you do worship, do you kind of get to enter into that excitement of it still?
Yeah, I do.
Do you have to press in for that?
Yeah, I think yes, but I I love it, and it's in my blood.
Yeah.
And I find it an amazing privilege to be still able to be asked to do things, and
Yeah.
I love it. It's amazing, especially now I've got my family involved a little bit. It's good.
It's exciting. Well, some of our team read about kind of this pivotal thing that happened in your history. You were in a car wreck.
Yeah,
Is it 95?
that's right. Yeah.
Can you talk to me a little bit about that
Sure,
and
yeah.
what that led to?
It was a year after we were married, and we did a stupid thing. When you're young, you just think you're invincible, don't you?
Yeah.
And I'd been working all day, and we decided to drive through the night to visit one of my wife's sisters who had just had a baby.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, we'll just drive through the night and do that.
Yeah.
And we had a car crash, and I spent 2 weeks in hospital, broke my leg, drove into a wall, fell asleep. So it was pretty traumatic, and it could have been pretty fatal, but God saved my life.
Wow.
And I remember spending that 2 weeks in hospital and just reevaluating, okay, what is it, God, you're calling me to do? And that was the big green light for Delirious. It's right, okay, right. Are you going to take the risk and go for it?
Really?
And so I remember all the guys coming in to see me in hospital one by
Yeah.
one. It's like, hey, do you want to do this? And so 6 months later...
You were asking them that
Yeah.
from the bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 months.
I'm ready.
6 months later, we were on the road
Wow.
and going around the world, and amazing, really.
Wow, it's amazing. And you talked a bit about when it was time for the band to end. What was the shift like in family life and for you after that, in the years after that? Was that something you had to adjust to? Was that a really natural transition?
Yeah, it was. I remember being quite intentional in the first year about not really being away much, because it had just been so many years of travel.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember getting to my 7th weekend in a row that I'd been at home, and it was just like,
What do I
wow,
do?
this is what people do, isn't it?
This is what normal people do.
They sit at home on a Saturday night, like watching TV, and like having fish and chips and
Yeah.
curry or whatever.
Was that good? Was that a good thing?
It was amazing.
Okay, you liked it.
Yeah, I loved
Okay.
it. And so, yeah, I think that really, when I look back on this last 8 years, it's been, even though I've still travelled a bit, it's really been kind of about the kids, really.
Yeah.
And
because your youngest is 10.
yeah,
10 to 20.
yeah,
Okay.
that's right. And then Ellie was about 13 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
12, 13. So it's like catching them in their teenage years. And so I've been grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not been perfect, and by any stretch of the imagination, but I've been around more, and I've loved that.
Yeah. What was one of the biggest challenges about being on the road? Was it being away from...
Yeah, I think it is. I think if you speak to anyone that travels a bit, whether it's selling, a product in a business or whatever it is, if you're away from your family, that's the hard bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the danger for guys especially is when they enjoy being away more than being at home. And that's where the trouble starts.
Yeah.
So I think, we've always loved home, and, I've got an amazing family, and so I just love being around. But so it takes me like a little bit of a time to sort of click back into,
Yeah.
you get off a plane and like, okay, this is what I do.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
kind of almost like gear yourself up for it.
Mm-hmm. But being out of the band for this amount of time now, you were talking about exploring kind of this new area of music and getting to be a singer-songwriter and a rocker and in a different context. And do you have more space now to just explore different aspects of yourself and of your writing?
Yeah, definitely. And like you say, I've been able to explore not just the church music stuff, the worship, but also to write different sorts of songs that I've been wanting to write for years.
Yeah.
Some songs about my wife, just the bumps in the road of being married.
Mm,
And so I made a record under a band name called Army of Bones.
yep.
And it's really aimed at a different market.
Yeah.
And,
That's fun.
people that would come to a club, not a church,
Yeah.
but wanting to sort of still sing over people and see the glory of God come there.
Yeah.
So we've been doing that in the UK. It's been hard work, 20, 30 people a night.
Wow.
So very, very unglamorous.
So different. I love it.
Packing a van at 2:00 in the morning. But it's been fulfilling, and who knows where that will go to.
Yeah. What does 2018 look like?
I don't know.
Yeah?
I don't know.
That's kind of what Ellie said, actually.
I'm at the beginning of it, really not knowing much about what's going to happen this year. So
That's exciting.
again, it
in
feels
and
like
of itself.
another transition.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
There's a few informal questions I'm going to throw at you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Dumb and Dumber. Yeah.
That's what Ellie said.
Is it
One of
really?
her too.
That's our family, like,
That's awesome.
when we're all together, that's the one. I think we know every single line.
That's amazing. Yeah, we were literally all in here just quoting lines from Dumb and Dumber
Yeah.
20 minutes ago. That's so funny. Mountains or beach?
Beach.
Okay, love it. Do you have a favorite sound?
Wow, I've never been asked that question.
I know, it's weird.
The studio that I was in my house, in our last house, at about sort of 10:00 in the morning, these birds would just sort of congregate outside the studio window and just start singing. And I used to love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. If you could pursue any other profession, what would it be?
I would love to be the chaplain at Brighton Football Club.
Nice. I was favorite sport.
Yeah,
Clearly
soccer, yeah.
soccer.
Soccer
Football,
for all the, you know.
soccer. Yeah.
So we've got a big soccer team in our city, and they're in the top tier now. And yeah, I've just got a strange sort of weird dream that
I feel like you could maybe do that.
yeah,
I
I
don't
could
know.
be involved in that pastorally a little bit.
Nice. I love that.
I'd have to wear a
I could
tracksuit,
see it. I could totally
like
see
a
it.
football tracksuit and a dog collar. You know.
Just to encourage you. I can fully picture this.
Yeah.
And finally, what are you most excited about this year? We kind of talked about how you don't know what's coming, but it's a new year.
I'd like to make a record this year. I've got lots of new songs, and I just don't know how I'm going to record them yet. So I'm excited about that. I've got a few trips that I'm going on with my wife, just the two of us, to visit some people around the world, just church.
Nice.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah, and excited that Brighton will stay in the top tier of the football league. Yeah.
Most of all.
But the most of all, is that they need to stay up, and then I'll be happy.
Yes.
You're finding out I'm quite shallow.
Yeah. We got our priorities straight. It's great. I love it. Thank you so much
Thanks very
for
much.
sharing a bit and being open and for allowing us to hear your story a bit.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of our listeners. Thank you for watching. And you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. If you have comments or questions you'd like us to ask, you can leave them in the comment section under the Iris Global YouTube channel. And until next time, bye.
This podcast is presented by Iris Global. For more information or to support the work of Iris Global, please visit us online at irisglobal.com.